Think of your earliest memory, the oldest one you've got, the very first thing you can remember from your entire life. Got it? There's a good chance it never actually happened, at least not the way you just pictured it. And everything before it, your first steps, your first words, your first couple of years on this planet, it's just gone. Not fuzzy, not hard to reach, gone. Your brain doesn't even have a record it happened, and the reason why is a lot stranger than it was a long time ago. This has a name. Scientists call it childhood amnesia, and almost everyone has it. Ask people for their first memory, and it usually lands somewhere around age 3. Before that, pretty much nothing. And between 3 and 7, it's patchy. A flash here, a moment there, with big gaps in between. Now, your first guess is probably the obvious one. You don't remember it because it was ages ago, right? But that doesn't hold up. Think about it. A 70-year-old can tell you all about their 20s. That's 50 years back, and the memories are fine, but that same person remembers nothing from when they were 2. And that's more recent. If memories just faded with time, the oldest ones would slowly blur. They don't. They hit a wall. Something specific happens around age 3. So maybe babies just can't make memories yet? Nope. And this is where it gets weird. Babies make memories constantly. A newborn can recognize its mom's face within days. A few months in, they clearly remember familiar people. Toddlers remember things that happened weeks ago. The memories are definitely being made, so if they're there while you're little, where do they go? Part of it is simple. The brain isn't finished yet. 2 parts do most of the work for storing the memories of your life, the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. In a toddler, neither one is built. They're still wiring themselves up. So, you live the moment, your brain even holds on to it for a bit, but the equipment that files it away for good isn't online yet. The recording gets made, there's just nowhere to keep it. But there's a second idea, and this is the one that messes with researchers' heads. When you're little, your brain isn't just growing, it's exploding. New brain cells are forming faster than at any other point in your life. And here's the twist. That growth might be the thing that wipes the early memories out. The idea is that all those new cells flooding into the hippocampus basically rewire it, and they rewire the exact circuits holding your earliest memories. The wiring that stored, "This is my crib, this is my mom's voice," gets paved over by the new stuff. So the growth that builds your mind might be the same thing that erases its first chapter. You kind of had to forget who you were to become who you are. And there's one more piece. Before about age 3, you don't have language yet, and you don't really have a solid sense of yourself, a clear me that things happen to. Turns out, memories of your own life need both. You store them like a little story. I was there, this happened to me. No words to tell it, no me to pin it on, and the moment might never get saved in a way you can pull back up later. Scientists still argue about which of these matters most. Honestly, it's probably all 3 at once, but that's not even the strange part. Go back to that first memory, the one from the start. Here's what the science actually says about it. Your memory isn't a recording. It's not a video sitting on a shelf that you press play on. Every single time you remember something, your brain rebuilds it from bits and pieces, and then saves the rebuilt version over the old one, which means every memory you've ever thought about more than once has been quietly edited. Now take a memory from when you were 3 or 4, made on a half-built brain. Then, retold to you 100 times in family stories. An old photo you stared at, a video your parents kept playing. Your brain takes all those pieces and builds a memory that feels completely real, vivid, emotional, certain, for something you might never have actually seen with your own eyes. And this isn't a theory. In experiments, researchers have gotten people to remember entire childhood events that flat out never happened, with total confidence and loads of detail. That feeling of being sure, it's not proof the memory's real. So your first memory, the one you're kind of attached to, there's a real chance your brain wrote it. out of pieces other people handed you, and then convince you that you lived it. Sit with that for a second. The years that shaped you the most, when your brain grew fastest, when you learned to trust, to fear, to love, when your whole personality got its foundation, those are the exact years you can't get back to. You were basically built in a room you can't go back into. Everything you are is sitting on top of something you'll never actually see. And the few memories you think you kept from back then, some of them were probably written by the people who raised you. You don't remember becoming yourself, you just remember being yourself, after the work was already done and the evidence was already gone. So next time someone asks for your earliest memory, go ahead and tell them. Just maybe don't be too sure it's actually yours. If your brain just did something a little uncomfortable there, good. That's kind of the point. Your mind is full of these blind spots. We'll go find the next one in the next video.